Although I am involved with CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada, the views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the participants and do not reflect those of CADAC. And now, cue the music.
This is the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, a show for high-achieving ADHD entrepreneurs. Together, we will inform and educate you about how to improve your self-awareness while developing systems, routines, and habits for conquering the entrepreneurial world. Here is your host, Andre Brisson.
Hey there, it's Andre here with another short for the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, the podcast for the high-achieving ADHD entrepreneur. This episode is brought to you by CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada. You can get more information and you can donate at www.cadddac.ca. This week I was talking with Adrienne Duffy from Big Futures Inc. and we discussed the why of you powered by print. And as she discussed, it's actually print is an acronym, or not an acronym, but a short form of motivational imprint. Basically, your imprint of your subconscious motivators. And we talked a lot in detail there about the subconscious or the unconscious motivators, which is actually, if you take a look at one of their analogies is the iceberg. All you see is the tip of the iceberg, and what's underneath the water is not seen, and that's our subconscious, unconscious motivators. And I thought I'd just go over my print, which is 1-8. And 1-8 is I need things to be perfect, correct, and right, and also to be strong and self-reliant. And I was just going to kind of go through my report here and kind of give an explanation of my print and why I thought it was very important I think it's important for anyone to know. And, everyone has two unconscious motivators, and these two unconscious motivators make up your print, your motivational identity. All right. And what this helps us do is identify our best self behavior and also our shadow behavior, our shadow self. When our unconscious motivators are not satisfied, we get triggered into shadow behavior. All right. So just to give you a little bit of an insight here, you're given two numbers. They believe that you were born this way. And I think your environment might exasperate the triggers. It was for me. And no two prints are identical. Or better than, actually, no print is better than the other one. That's just like all the assessments I tell you. One is not better than the other. They just identify how you work best and how, in this case, what are your subconscious motivators? Like for me as a 1-8, I'm extraordinarily grounded and I'm a responsible individual. I'm passionate about things being done the best and fairest way. All right. I'm very clear about my definition of excellence and I tirelessly strive to achieve the standard. Okay. Also, I'm exceptionally honorable. I'm unusually sensible and logical when dealing with problems, especially the difficult ones, and we are unmatched when it comes to navigating through crisis or high-pressure situations. With my ADHD brain, this is amplified and ramped up because in crisis or chaos, I do very well. And I'm able to slow things down and just say, hey, everyone, settle down. And also calm, fortitude, confident that I'll find a way out of the storm. Very reasonable, resourceful, independent by nature. I like working alone. I kind of do, but I'm good at working alone, even though I do very well in a group. I can multitask. A lot of you might be thinking, oh, there's a lot of ADHD thing here, but it's not. It's just this print is amplified with ADHD. Just since our brains don't stop and our motivation, we kind of get better motivation and dopamine kicks by if I'm in these. So your print is going to be different than mine, and you might be some similarities. But one last thing I was going to say is a big sense of principle integrity, and I'm very deeply affected by unfairness and injustice, and I'll try right or wrong, but the way I see it. But now let's go back to the shadow self. The potential shadow is when we take things to excess or our talents and strengths can be blocked. Okay, so if I am triggered, especially when I'm trying to help others improve, I can easily shift from helping others improve to a perfection overdrive. I can be controlling, or I can appear to be controlling, micromanaging, impatient, and irritable when people are not living up to their potential or measuring up to my acceptable level of performance. I can overemphasize on perfection. It keeps me from making quick decisions or acting swiftly. Then I actually need, this is again, shadow self, I need absolutely everything to be thorough, correct, and perfect before we consider something completed. I really get bogged down, I'll plant my feet and not move, right? And since I value fairness and justice strongly, I got high ideals. And if I'm triggered, these high ideals I'll become obsessed with. When the outcomes are not good, I become condescending, opinionated. Anger and resentment may also build quietly when things aren't fair or right. And I can be very defensive when someone challenges me if I'm triggered. All right. Again, this is not saying I'm a bad person. It just identifies the list of shadow behavior and the list of best self. And being triggered and then getting to shadow self, you know what? I need to be aware that I'm in shadow self, and how do I get out of it, right? So I can become my best self, responsible, conscientious, high standards, fair, seeking excellence, self-discipline, focused, confident, generous, composed, multitasking, good under pressure, pleasant. If not, I have a difficulty forgiving, self-righteous, perfectionist, unrealistic expectations, becoming defensive, impatient, overly critical, reprimanding, stubborn, okay? By understanding all this, they also give me a list of triggers. So for me to get into shadow self, they actually identify triggers. One, if feeling unjustly criticized, people who shift blame and don't own their mistakes. When someone tries to move into my territory, every time I feel undermined, manipulated, control, I get triggered. Things that are done incorrectly, not meeting my standards or ideals. Resistance to change. People are resistant to change. Closed-minded people, stubborn behavior. People who are unresponsive or slow-moving. I'm not kept informed of things. Being told flat out I'm wrong with no backup or fairness, right? Unfair or unjust behaviors. These are just to name a few lists, but everyone gets an individualized trigger list, as long with an individualized shadow self behavior and best self behavior. And to me, the coup de grace here for this report is, in the last sheet, is what they call the role alignment. So you're actually given this role alignment check sheet, which is unique to your print, and actually asks you questions, and you rank it from these types of behaviors, or, this is a continuously learning, growing in the role. These are all related to my print. And if I'm reporting low, then that means my motivations aren't being satisfied. My subconscious motivators aren't being satisfied. If I'm higher up on the 4 side, because they rank it from 1 to 4, then my motivations are satisfied. So I'm going to be more likely to be my best self rather than my shadow self. And this really helps me assess it. It's the same questions every time, but I come up with different answers because of the situation. It could be a task at home. It could be stuff at home, work, personal. All the same questions, but different answers. It's because it's all dependent on the current situation. So what I have here is just, I reviewed my print report and why I find it's very beneficial. This gave me a lot of clarity on when I get triggered or I get really upset, or why I'm really good in certain situations, especially the fairness thing. I'm really good to get into a crowd of people who are not getting along, people are being treated unfairly, unjustly, or I'll advocate for people who are being treated unfairly. And then also, if I'm told you can take care of this and run with it, and then all of a sudden I'm challenged, or now you're stepping in my territory, I get triggered because of my 8 being self-reliant and strong. Gave me a lot of clarity, and now I'm actually, the best way to do things is, or get motivated, is to try and stay in these 2 things. Or if someone comes up to me and say, hey, this is not fair, this is not right, I need a way to figure this out to make it fair, I'm all in. I'll jump in. And the one thing that's really cool about this tool, just like the Kolbe and Clifton Strengths, is you take it once, that's all you need to know. It's not going to change with time. It's an expensive tool, but you gain so much out of it, and you can save you so much time and aggravation. I think it's worth the money. If you're interested in taking this tool and working with me on it, please reach out to me at andre@andrep.ca, and I'll be gladly help you with this. Also in the show notes, I have the talent identification toolkit for you to download for free. If you have questions on that, please reach out and let me know what your thoughts are. Thanks again. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Impulsive Thinker podcast. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion for the show, please visit theimpulsivethinker.com. The Impulsive Thinker podcast is produced by Tactical Breakthroughs and hosted by Andre Brisson. Remember, ADHD is only a part of you, not all of you.